This is Kevin Onizuk, your mortgage guy, and I'm here today to talk about how to get a purchase offer accepted and even beat out a cash offer when you're looking to buy a new home. Are you putting in offers on homes that are being beat out by others? Are you tired of competing against people willing to pay cash? No question, it can be extremely frustrating. If you are in a hot competitive market, you already know how tough it can be with multiple buyers competing on the same home. You put in an offer on a home only to have it slip through your fingers to a buyer who sweeps in with cash. The reality is, the cash offers may not always be the best for a seller. Sure, it may seem more attractive to a seller because they wouldn't have to worry about a buyer getting financing. They think it's easier because they don't have to worry about that financing falling through, or because the buyer just doesn't qualify for the loan, or the appraisal comes in short, or they think the process is longer. Normally, on average, a purchase can close with a mortgage in about 30 days compared to a cash closing that can close in as little as a couple of weeks. Cash offers sometimes even come in below the asking price because they know that they can entice a seller with a fast and easy, no worries closing. When you're financing your home using a mortgage, you're not going to be able to have as much leverage to negotiate a lower price like that cash buyer. It may seem like you're at a disadvantage against a cash offer because the cash is easy, guaranteed money that does move a lot faster than you purchasing the home using financing. However, there are several methods you can use to have your offer stand out and seem more acceptable and attractive to the seller. Let's dive in and look at how to beat a cash offer, beginning with number one, which is to make sure you are fully pre-approved by a great local licensed loan officer. When you're talking with your lender, you want to make sure you submit all of your documentation and have the lender take a full look at your file and give you a solid pre-approval right up front. Be sure your pre-approval letter is submitted with your offer, then ask your lender to call the seller and let them know that they have all the documents and that you are indeed fully approved and ready to go. Sometimes this call can let the seller know that everything is good to go and that there's not going to be an issue with the loan. This can make the seller feel more confident about your loan closing on time. And don't underestimate the power of using a good, established local loan officer. Having someone in that local market that is known and trusted can definitely make a difference when the seller is considering multiple offers. Someone they know, like, and trust will be much more likely to instill confidence than some random internet lender or out of the area big bank or credit union. In fact, some of those names you may think sound great and impressive don't always have the greatest reputation for reliability, follow-through, and on-time closings. Submit an offer letter. The second thing you can do is to submit an offer letter. Submitting an offer letter along with that offer and pre-approval can sometimes help to create a bond with the seller. It's like letting them get to know you, your family, your story. Some people refer to that offer letter as a love letter to the seller. Basically, an offer letter is you showing some emotion with that contract so that the seller doesn't just see the black and white paper of an offer. They don't just see the math. They know that you are interested in that home because it's going to do something for you and your family. Many sellers love their home. Most have an emotional attachment to it, and they want to see it in good hands. It happened to me. I bought a house during the pandemic during all this craziness. I competed in a multiple offer situation. I included a letter to the seller who I knew had raised her family there. They had been there for 20 years. They built that house. She had history there. We talked about our family, our kids, bringing happiness and joy and love to the home. We won. We won that bidding. We won that home, and we love that home. Offer letters do help. Offer letters do make a difference. Submit your best offer. The third thing to do is submit your best offer right up front. A competitive market can be tricky to try to negotiate a lower offer, and if you're up against other offers and cash buyers, you need to be prepared to put in your highest and best right at the start. Some savvy sellers are more willing to take cash offers because they know that they don't have to worry about the appraisal coming in short on value. So with that offer, be prepared to include an appraisal clause that lets the seller know that if the appraisal comes in lower than the purchase price, that you are willing to put up the additional money that's not included in your financing to make sure the transaction closes. And in some cases, the appraisal isn't even needed. So ask your loan officer if an appraisal waiver may be possible and let the seller know that with your offer as well. Shorten your closing time. The fourth thing you can do to beat a cash offer is shorten your closing time. If you're already pre-approved by your lender, you may be able to shorten your closing time from that expected 30 days down to as little as a few weeks. Be sure to talk with your lender about what their closing times look like before you discuss this with the seller, but a shorter time frame can be more attractive to a seller. They would get their money as soon as possible. Most of the time, sellers don't want to extend out the closing too long, so if you can close in less than the typical 1 month window, let them know and they will feel more comfortable accepting your offer over others. Buying a home in today's market can be competitive and challenging, but when you take the time to get pre-approved and put together a good offer, you can stand out against those cash offers. And the last thing, one definitely not to forget about, is finding out what's most important to those sellers. Crazy enough, sometimes there's things more important to a seller than just the money. Work with your buyer's agent to see if you can figure out what's truly motivating that seller. Is it closing as soon as possible? Maybe, but it could also be something like closing later, as the seller may not be ready to move out right away. I recently had buyers win a contract because they were willing to let the seller stay in the home for an extra few months while they were waiting on the construction of their new home to be completed. The buyers got the home that they wanted, the home that they loved, and the sellers didn't have to move into temporary housing. It was a win for everyone, and the buyers actually beat out other offers at higher prices. Have your buyer's agent see if they can find out the seller's true motivation, or talk about your flexibility, if you have it, in your offer letter that we talked about earlier. Thanks for watching. This is Kevin Onizuk, your mortgage guy. You can connect with me online at www.loanswithkevin.com or call me at 757-645-0196.